roll. Drum roll. Let's give Jim a Bouqui'S place welcome. Ladies and gentlemen. Jim Iyke is in the building. Yes, y'all. Yo.
Hey, what's up?
What's happening, man? How are you?
Hey, it can be better given the circumstances. How are you? How are you coping? I think that's the first order of business.
Yeah, I mean, Delaware is, we're slow in everything. So we're slow to catch the virus. So we still do, everything is still, going the way it should be. I mean, I go out and I see everybody walking on the streets. I'm like, this is unreal. And New York is like 2 hours from us, but it's total lockdown. New Jersey is crazy.
Wow. Well, we have to be careful. I mean, this is real as day and night. And I think everybody. I was funny. I was down 2-3 hours from Delaware just a few weeks ago. I was
really?
in DC. Yeah, I was in Maryland for about 3 weeks. I was in DC for another 1 week. So I saw this firsthand heat America, and of course I was in New York for about a week. So this can be easy for everyone. I think we all need to be careful.
Wow. And I read your thing on Instagram where you said you passed through all these places and God kept you. So, man, big ups.
Thank you, Dan.
Big ups, man.
I don't know how that happened. Given that I was in, I think 7 cities in the U.S., and I was in Iceland on my way in. I also did a 2-3 day business stop in Amsterdam. And right now I'm in Paris. I've been in Paris for about 8 weeks for the lockdown because the borders were shut as soon as I came in here to hang out. This is my third home. So I don't know, after my 2 weeks quarantine, I was greatly concerned. I was fearful that I might have, along the way. Well, hey, we're still strong, so that's a lot.
We're still strong, and that's what matters. Welcome to Bouqui'S Place. Listen, Jim, we see all of you guys on TV. We see you doing great stuff. And then we, normal people, we have dreams in our hearts. We want to do great things. But because we don't see the toiling part, we don't see the time that you didn't believe in yourself, we don't see the times that you guys cried, so we take our dream and we think it's too little. And we say, you know what, I can't even do it. I'll never be like Jim Iyke. I'll never be like this. So in Bouqui'S Place, what we do is we make people realize that, listen, you can do it. If you have that dream in your mind, go for it. So we bring people that have been through the ups and the downs and are still standing, people like you, to share your story. So we kick this off by you telling us your story from the get-go, where you were born and all that.
I was born in a little Libreville, Gabon. Yeah, and then my mom was an entrepreneur from there. People keep asking where's the background from. Well, I was born to an entrepreneur mom. My mom owned. My mom was just a beast with it, man. She owned businesses in transport. We owned one of the biggest bars in Libreville back in the early 80s. Mom was also in real estate. She was a baker. She owned a bakery shop. Like the freshest croissants and baguette and came right up my house. My mom was also involved in the importation of tear dye, and this rapper women, they call it Hollandies, I think.
Hollandies,
Yeah. She was an all-round businesswoman, and my dad is the quiet intellectual. So I think I took both sides. That quiet part that can sit in a room for hours on end and not be bothered by the silence. That was my dad. That part was instilled in me. The part to think, to process, to see things from hopefully a different perspective from others. Then we came back to the country when I was about 9 years old, back to Nigeria. And my first language was French, second language was English.
Tu comprends pas français?
Je comprends français bien.
Oh, no, that's all I got. Never mind. That's all I got. I have to learn more.
So we, that's basically why I figured that along the line, one of the first cities I have to get an apartment at the very least is Paris.
Paris.
Yes, I feel I came to live in Lyon when we were about 6. My dad was a construction engineer, worked with people for a
Okay.
long time. So along the line, he had a little job to do in Lyon, and he came out to Lyon. I had to take part of the family with him, so I went with him. I have 6 sisters, by the way, but 2 were born in Nigeria, the other 4 back then. So I had to come out to Lyon with him, and then from there back home, and we settled in Enugu at first. My first one was Enugu. And then we came down to Abuja when Abuja was actually starting out. What you see as Abuja now, when we came to Abuja, was on its second phase. What you see is probably like the 5th, 6th stage right now. Most of the I saw these buildings literally, start before my eyes, So it was an amazing experience coming to a virgin city and starting up with my family. And shortly after, I had to take off to school. I went to FGC. Then were the private schools of old. I went to FGC Abuja. At 5, I had to leave because I took my GCE in time, and then went into University of Jos. In Uni-Jos, it was banking and finance and psychology. Came out. I finished pretty early. Well, what you consider early those days.
Yeah.
I was done by 18 and a half, 19. And then I think by all accounts it's still fairly early. And then came out, and my pursuit was the master's, the PhD. That is the propensity of the Igbo parents. That's how your life is structured. Yeah. And somewhere along the line, I stumbled onto acting. Someone came, met me, and said, "Listen, I want you to do this. I think you're born for it." People begin to whisper into your subconscious one way or the other, and you don't really relate to it. But, when you sit down quietly, I was always a kid I spent a lot of time alone. I didn't have friends in the beginning, not for the lack of trying, just because of this kind of space I grew up. I had, at some point, I was living with 9 women, 8 to 9 women. One of them came and went, my grandma. I had my grandma, my mom, 6 sisters, and a cousin, 9. I was the only guy. So you can imagine that kind of space. I didn't want to have friends that come in and toast my sisters. I try to get with my sister. That was the first rule. That was the no rule. So dudes don't want to hang with me. They'll be like, "Man, I do let you get his cousin or his sister," or whatever. So I learned the power of.
Were you the oldest?
Huh?
Were you the oldest?
No, I was right there in the middle. I'm the middle child.
Okay.
But in our culture, as you know, Bouqui'S, it doesn't matter. I'm the oldest child. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I had to learn the power of silence, the power of space, the power of being lonesome. I had to learn that. Trust me, is a power. It's something that a lot of people don't know how to use to their advantage. But I spent a lot of time reading a lot of books. I had that kind of dad that would leave a newspaper with me when I was barely 8, 9 and tell me, "Listen, read everything back to back. When I come back, explain what happened." Oftentimes, I don't know the crux of what it was, the gist of it, but I was forced to do what you might term back in the day as verbal research, find out what the story, the crux and matter of the story was, and then be prepared to pitch to him when he got back from work. Now, to the man, like I told him a few years ago, that was obviously something that he derived out of the blues, but that was one of the preparatory stages that made me extremely mnemonic. Later in life, when I was given scripts, I could master and probably commit it to memory in no little time. So again, it's about the blueprint you grew up with, what you taught your child or your charges from the beginning. So I learned to be by myself. I think I had my real first friend when I went off to college at 15 almost 16. Yeah, that's when I had my first real friend, but dudes weren't allowed in my house. So I think that's the kind of childhood I had. And later in life, my adulthood, people often wonder, he's the kind of guy that liked being by himself, doesn't like anybody in. But that's the only life I've known, in pursuit of my life, down the line, my career, the space I found myself in, the public domain, it was always an adverse to my true nature. Yeah, being
Like
out there.
alter ego.
Yes, totally. It was totally lacked authenticity with the programming I had from the beginning.
Wow.
Being with people, hanging out. It was such an ardent, acquired taste. It made me struggle all the time. You know, in the
Wow.
relationship, even women that were extroverts that I wanted to go, you know, also the raising hell, the troubles I got into were just because somebody somehow infringed on my personal space because I wasn't used to it and I struggled for years up until even my late 20s. I struggled
Wow.
to live up to that, you know, that image where you're expected to be accessible, you're expected to, people expect to have access to you, you're expected to be present and around, down your value chain. You're expected to give something to the fans that have supported you. You're expected to say something back to the critics. You're expected to have people have a good degree of your life in order to speak up for you and stand for you. You're not expected to be totally exempt from the people that are giving you so much. And that, I think, was the whole situation that I had to deal with. And once somehow, and I found this late in life in my mid-30s, when I found what was to be the equilibrium of life, if you will, where there was a balancing act, where I could go in, give what I was born to do, as much as I was compelled to do, and then remove myself from the circumstance of being available to hang out and to for everybody. It just wasn't me. It wasn't, so it was labeled with a lot of extremism. It was labeled as being aloof,
Wow.
labeled as being arrogant. But no, you can't change the nature of who you are. You can't. Somebody told me something that was infinitely powerful. A man that I look up to, a man that's become a surrogate father to me. He said he's 82 years old. I love him dearly. He said to me, now listen, and he's an erudite, he's an extremely intelligent man, worldly gifted man. He's lived 9 lives and survived it all. You know, that's the kind of person, yeah, I made friends with. He said to me, they watch people, a lot of people, because of their sense of entitlement and their less power to be discerning, they think people are jealous of them when you don't want to be in their space. They say, oh,
Associate.
yes, you don't want to associate with, you don't want to identify them or give them what you call in the recent days props. No, it's not that. The reason is simple. There are people that demand a higher standard in their relationship. Okay? There are people that are doing so well under the radar. They're just not comfortable to share what they're doing, but they're doing extremely well. Okay? The people, again, as a complete illustration of what we're speaking about, the people that run this world, the true people that run this world, you and I know, are not very present. It's behind the scene.
Underneath the surface.
I've come to respect the person that wants to live his life on the radar behind the scene. Those are the really powerful people because the, they understand the power of resilience. They understand the power of silence. They understand the power of control, of sacrifice. Okay, so everybody that is self-advertisement is amazing. It can get you so far, but
Only
don't
so
forget.
far.
Yeah, don't also forget that there's such thing as excessive advertisement, and then you get to a point where you fed that medium way too much about you, and it becomes offensive, and it becomes productive at the end of the day. Then at the end of the day, you'd have lived the life of the sprinter, not the marathon runner. You know, so it's what it is, and this guy explained it. He said because I told him, listen. Is this necessary? He said it is. Well, let me make you understand this. There was a business partner I did business with late last year. I brought a company, Work Ventures, I brought a company to Nigeria, and it took us years to make this company work. It took so much resources for me. Career suffered. No, I didn't care about the career.
We're
I
gonna go
lost it.
into that. You're gonna tell us about that,
Okay,
okay?
okay. I was going to link it to this situation. And
Okay.
one of the one of the chief factor that made that happen for me, the one thing he demanded was a relationship. And his in a relationship did not coincide with my principles of a relationship. He's an outgoing, gregarious, larger than life being. And that's who he is. He's not a bad person. He loves me. He loves what I do. He support it, even if he didn't understand it. He's extremely rich from being present, from being everywhere, from just being accessible, from being extremely loud. And he demanded that of me, that for what he did for me at that point in my life, to be his friend, I had to be accessible to all his friends, accessible to all his outings, travel with him, hang out with him. And I did it for a couple of weeks or 3. And again, that thing that's in me that does not, represent a different status quo, that anything that lacks that individuality and flair that I've associated myself with, became an acquired taste. And I started to exhaust myself. I started to dream, and I told him I can't do it anymore. And I disappeared, like I do, recalled into my shell and stayed there. He tried several to reach me, couldn't. And he went about trying to sabotage some of the things I did because he saw it as an insult, a lack of gratitude for what I did. And so I was going to follow in suit with aggression and legality and, fight as I was wont to do. But then this man called me to order and said, what seems to be the problem? And I said, this is it. This guy just think. And one of the stories he painted was, probably I can't keep up with the lifestyle, and that's why I just. And he said, no, understand this. What you call for yourself is a different standard of relationship. And if the man cannot measure up to it, he's the one lacking, not you. So stop fighting to measure up. That's what you're doing now. You're in his space where his elements are in full power. Your space is in silence. It's in be by yourself.
Wow.
So retract your space and stop fighting in battle. As long as you know you're right. Your lawyers have already told you you're in the right. There's nothing he can do to sabotage it. So work on that platform. Make that platform a success, and make sure what you do to him gets to him as constantly as possible.
Wow.
And after a while, there will be a full realization of who's right and wrong. And that's what I did. And early this year, one of the phone calls I got was somebody I respected very much, which is him, called me and apologized and said,
wow.
I asked a very simple question. Is anybody close to him the same? He's like that and like that. Is anybody really knows where he lives, hang out with him, drink with him? Nobody could attest in the positive, And he said, okay, maybe I was following a different course of action. Maybe I was just forcing somebody to embody what was totally adverse to him. Maybe this is a different kind of friendship I need to learn. I need to embody, And I think
you had a choice to make. You had a choice to make.
Go all out with him or retract and stay in my element.
And pay the price. You had to pay the price, but you had to be authentically yourself. You cannot be anything less than you are.
There you are. The more of yourself you are, the more of you become.
Authentic. Yeah.
The more authentic you are, the more you become. There's a whole new demographic waiting for what you are. There's a whole new demographic waiting for what you're not. So you choose carefully your niche and then become you. Because trust me, anything that you do outside your individuality and your flair is an acquired taste, and you will always struggle. You always try to do what you're not.
Jim, pause. Listen. We need to break that down. We ain't just gonna rush past that. We have to break that down. So you're telling me that if I try to be someone else, like a fish out of water, I heard this thing once. They said a fish and a bird can fall in love. No problem. But where would they live? The fish will say, come to the water. The bird will say, no, let's fly. So you're saying that anything you try to become that is outside your DNA, your genetic makeup, is acquired taste, and soon enough you will start to detest yourself.
You'll find out. You can't be your full element if you're doing something that is adverse to who you are. You will struggle. you only live that long. And don't forget, people around you will thrive because that is their natural habitat. That's their natural element. The noise, the so-called razzmatazz and glamour, the endless parties, the voices speaking in their ears, that those elements is what forms the entirety of their strength. Your weakness is where you are. So when you dispel with the noises and come back to your element, where I'll tell you something, everybody speaks about the power of going to churches, the power of your religious beliefs, the power of your of certain cultural and traditional programming. My power still remains on when I get down on my knees. It doesn't matter what my intellect tells me. Okay? I see farthest and I hear clearest when I'm on my knees with my eyes closed.
Oh,
So it's
a
really
moment
that
of silence. That is amazing. No, wait, because you're telling everybody listening that you're strongest on your knees. Not when you're running, not when you're gymming, not when you're working out. You're strongest when you're most vulnerable.
Every time I get on my knees, there's a struggle, there's an understanding, there's something, there's a different element I want to imbibe, I want to embrace. How can you see in that position with your eyes open? You can't. Now you're dealing with the distractions. There's a TV, my kid is running around, there's a noise there, there's a phone call, there's a reminder of stuff you're supposed to do. Your problem is apparent in your faces, okay? And even the reason you knelt down in the first place will be on you. But once I close my eyes, every other senses is shut down. I don't want to hear. I become deaf. I become mute. Sometimes I don't even pray. Seriously. Let me give you a whole different version. Sometimes I don't pray. I just find myself in a circumstance where I want to take a decisive step, a decision that will make or floor somebody. You know what it means sometimes to hold somebody's destiny at that moment, because you can't hold the entirety of someone's destiny. Nobody has that power. But you can decide if the person is moving forward or stagnant or is going backward. I'm faced with a choice where a staff did something irrevocably wrong. And I'm the master of the word that will fire him, that will break him, or say, I forgive you, move forward. I'm that master at that moment. God gave you that power. And I tell you, I've never fired anybody on the spot. Ask my staff. I get mad, I tell you, get out of my sight, leave. I cuss you out, do whatever is necessary, get out. Then when I get on my knees and I pray, right then I decide there's an element in control that's beyond you. I promise you, it is beyond you. You have to give up to it. That is the only time you allude to a power higher than you. And the only way you accept that power is when you shut your eyes, become deaf, mute, and obviously you allude to it. So I just don't want to talk sometimes because I say the wrong word. Whatever I say might be born out of emotion. I just sit there quietly in the dark. I sit there quietly. After 2-3 minutes, there's a peace. My spirit is at peace. My spirit is at peace. I don't feel my knees on the ground. I feel an elevation. I feel an aloofness. I feel like an outside body experience. And I just put the jaw on sleep. The next day, you're fired.
You're still fired, though.
And my spirit is worried. There's a chain of events that obviously I can't access, I can't see, that's beyond me. There's a reason this person faltered that he doesn't want to share with me. And he will never share with me, even giving in the face. There's a personal problem person is going through that can't share with you, if given the space of the, even knowing that that mistake might cost him or her job. But she won't share that with you. She's in that personal space that I will not give up this part of my life, no matter what. That gift has been given to you to make that person continue on their journey or not. And if my spirit worries me, I'm not at peace, I feel every inch of kneeling down till my knees begin to ache after 30 minutes, 20, I've knelt 20, 30. my knees. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to ask for. I don't know what direction to go. But everything around me is not at peace. Everything is wounded. Everything is just troubled, that I can't take this person's daily bread because of my ego, because of my sense of entitlement. It becomes about me at that moment. And so when I get up and I go back, for some reason, when I see the person the next day, there's a certain empathy, if you will. There's a certain emotional intelligence after that. And I let you stay no matter how much damage you did to me.
Wow.
No? So that's the difference.
Wow.
I want to take it the same modus operandi. That's what I do. It's not about words, casting and binding and doing all kinds of stuff. It's great. My mom brought me up in the environment of prayer. When there's a need for it, I go with the best of them. But I taught myself a certain silence in my spiritual pursuit. It's the only time it is a privilege between you and God. And so it's how can you tell an omnipotent being your troubles when he knows?
He already knows.
Before you put your foot down, your knees down, beg your pardon. So sometimes I just let the Spirit speak to me, and I wake up and I take the right decision. I have fired somebody and found out later that this person was a competition that was doing decisive damage, that had made up their mind because I promoted somebody else along the line, they were going to destroy the company. Yes, that's my instinct working in its full power. I wonder how I would have made that decision, because what the person did wasn't even that much as compared to the person that I've let stay for doing even much more. The same person I let stay, if anybody knows the history of our office, is assistant manager and he's doing great. First, there's a sense of loyalty, gratitude, very powerful frequency, very powerful frequency.
Gratitude.
I don't want you to thank me. I don't want you to apologize to me. I want all that to work with you. You build that frequency to a point that you will give me your best, one way or the other. There's so many approaches that is totally unorthodox that I've come to learn as to how life is, that sometimes people think, for the most part, I'm crazy. But I'm not. I just like a different perspective to every narrative.
Wow. Wow. Wow, amazing. You said something that struck me. You said something about discernment. That's the word, right? Discernment. So give us an instance where it looked good on paper. On paper, you had a deal that looked good, but your discernment, your instinct told you don't do it.
Here's what
and you didn't do it.
The strongest tool for success is not more success, it's failure. Have you failed enough? Nothing teaches you a lesson like in the space of failure. Nothing. The difference between you and the man that failed and stayed down is that you're a champion, you're a lion. For every failing, there was a lesson. And I took it and became stronger. So it's that simple. The power of discernment can only be built through your instincts. The greatest asset and element you build in your life, I promise you that you must hone in your life, is your instinct. I just stand. It is what you're not telling me that I hear, Bouquie.
Oh, talk to them. Exactly.
It is what I'm not seeing that I see.
What I'm perceiving.
It is all from the in out, then out in. I've heard people give me a great pitch. I've made so many investment mistakes, so many. I've done so many things. Anybody, excuse my French, that will screw you over, it will first of all look extremely good on paper.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's no Yahoo guy that convinced anybody to part with money when they didn't send you first of all documents that looked extremely good.
Like, legit, yeah.
Legit. It's never been about what is on the paper. It's about what your gut feeling tells you. I've had kids that stood in front of me and did a terrible pitch. His hands were shaky and sweaty. His words were flattering. His grammar was not on point. His intellectual delivery was haywire. But then I forget that I'm Jim Iyke. Truthfully, no gainsay. I make people nervous sometimes. I just have to tell you. I've been
Oh,
there where
please.
no, you know, he's looking at, he knows I have what it takes to give him an opportunity right there and then. And his pitch is just horrible. But this is a brilliant kid that, given the element, once he's comfortable with me, he will make me uncomfortable with his intellect. I knew what the situation was. So that's the difference between somebody that will stand there and say, oh, it's a horrible idea because the pitch was wrong. But my instinct tell me that this person will change my life if I give him a chance. You know? So there's a kid that brought a certain business to us. It looked good on paper, everything looked good. And, you know, it was called Oga Walk back then, written an app. And this guy, he spoke of algorithms, all the internet speak that loses us. At some point, you have to be as traditional in your sense of pursuit of the transaction as possible. There's a time that the Igbo man in me lives, like it becomes live. I know I become as traditional as my ancestors. If it doesn't make sense in Naira and Kobo, it does not make sense. You know, so when he was done pitching, his pitch was horrible. My COO, my cousin, as at that point said, no, this guy don't know what in the talk. And this guy is an IT guru. You know, this guy don't know what in the talk. This idea doesn't just look, you know. I said, okay. I don't think we had another guy that I don't want to mention his name, you know who I'm talking about. He's just got funding recently, really tough. He came to the office, did a pitch from everything, including, okay, imagine how good your pitch have to be the moment you sit down. You know, when you're done, the CEO and the COO want to know what cologne you're wearing. You know, this guy get prepared. You know?
I like your shirt. What shirt is that?
The whole shirt. Just the whole shirt. Nobody's dressed up now. Everybody.
I'm saying that the CEO is like, man, I like your shirt. Like your picture's that good. Yeah.
We told him, hey, we asked, hey, what color are you wearing? And he gave it to him. But when it was done, everybody in that room was like, that's the guy with me. So I went home and I did my silent thing. And when I came back, I called my cousin, told him, we're going with that kid. Okay? And he was, no, it's that guy. I said, listen, this is where veto power comes. The highest shareholder. It's so bad when you have to pull ranks, especially with somebody you trust. Okay? So I had to pull ranks. I told him, I'm going with this guy. And he said that he hated that fact that, you know, that's why no matter what you do, like Tyler Perry keep telling us, ownership. You let me know when you're ready with an idea or a decision, and the person that will veto that decision may just at that point be detrimental to your cause. The only reason that idea or that decision had to fly was because I was the highest shareholder. So I said, my way or the highway. And so he made me say these words that, please don't ever find yourself saying that if anything falls apart, you bear full responsibility. I had to. So we brought this boy on board. As I speak to you, that boy lives in Dubai with my cousin, creating something that would change the entire landscape, trust me, of the internet world in our space. Very
and you went with your instincts. And you went with your instincts.
It did it to a point, I'm talking about genius status. I called him and said, all these inhibitions, all these shortcuts and everything here in Nigeria, which country are you most comfortable to work in? And he said, Dubai. I said, I'll bring the resources.
Of course, he said Dubai.
Because Dubai is Dubai. Dubai, you can, there are lots of maneuvers you can create an Arabic. No, it's the rules and regulation of Dubai, as long as it serves the state, will let you work in a certain space. We all know that. Even Yahoo boys know that. You know, they do their thing in the legit world, it also does you a lot of service to work in Dubai. It's a free trade zone. It's a place that fosters it fosters novel, brilliant, cutting edge idea without imposing too much on you if you're not a citizen. Simple. There are certain countries that before you can access certain things, you have to be a citizen. But Dubai doesn't play like that. Dubai just demands that you pay them what is due them if you establish a business in their orbit, and you're fine.
Wow. You have so much knowledge, man. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, didn't we just start? Why is it like only 40, 50 minutes left? I want you to share with us what part destiny has to play in all this journey of life, my purpose, because you're bringing out nuggets. You're talking about wisdom. You're talking about knowing your true self. And until you find that true self, you can't walk the path. I tell people, I say the path is already made. There's nobody anywhere making a path for you. It's already made. Your eyes just need to be open enough to see it so you can walk it, and everything you need is already on that path. Relationships, resources, and all that. I want you to tell us what destiny, how it comes to play, and use your example, like when you started acting. How did you know that was what God had for you? And how did you stay despite the hardship?
There are always grades along the path in your life before you start that you do well to emulate, not their substance, but the principles of what made them.
Principles. Are you guys listening? Principles.
It's what about substance are different. My journeys are different. Paths are different. When you walk on another person's path, that is what we're saying when you're not staying true to your authenticity, your flair, and your individuality. But when you walk on your path, that is the closest to heaven you find. I'm telling you, and doors are open, that is. So for your destiny, it's really that simple. I didn't understand. There was just a strong pull. Your destiny is that strong pull. There are better opportunities. Don't forget the access to get my master's done, getting on to my PhD, and then moving on in life. No, the target then was one of the Fortune 500s or creating this huge. And then like my Igbo folk, bless their heart, were doing it. It's a question of an Pinterest. They wanted to create an opportunity for me to say, okay, you know what? My son is on this path. He's amazing now. You guys let him get on your bandwagon and we'll elevate him to the highest. That's the idea. It's an amazing life, but it's a life cost me that would have been fraught with unhappiness, dissatisfaction, unfulfilled potentials for you. Your element is what you find that you're most comfortable with. There's a lighted way for you already. All you need to do is take that candle, trust me, and find your path to that place. That is the destiny. I never felt the kind of fulfillment I felt in anything else until I found this path, until I found that destiny. Your destiny opens the doors to many other doors for you. What I like to call sub-destinies. Okay? The rest needs to be enhanced. I found out what I am. I'll tell you what I am. I am a conductor. That's what I am. I found out that that's what I am. When Steve Jobs was asked at some point in his life, okay, you're not a scientist, you're not a programmer, you're not that, you're that. What part do you play? He made it easy for us to ascertain who we are, to stand in that space and claim it without reproach. And that is being a conductor. I understand gifts. I sense gifts. I know how it will work for me in my life. I know how to speak it into your life. I know what to give you to just the same level you need to make it happen. So if I conceive an idea, it doesn't necessarily mean that I know how to make it work. I just understand how to bring everybody that I need to make it work. I understand the position of authority. I know how to assert it. So I know how to conduct the orchestra. That is my gift. What is your gift? Because you need a team. You're as good as the people around you. It doesn't make you a follower. You're a leader in your own right. I made my cousin a leader in my space. And trust me, he takes decisions without me because he knows there's a place I'll falter emotionally. He'll take that space. I didn't give him a stake in the company because I couldn't find a better hand. I gave it to him because he was best suited. This is his destiny. He never crosses the line into mine.
Mm.
So when he says no to something, I'll say yes because I understand this is my gift. When it's time to take a decision that is totally biased to his intellect, to his training, to his skill set, I totally allude to him. So that is how it happens. Immediately I was on the path of my true destiny, which I think is the creative, which I think is acting. And I stood firm. What I needed from the people don't understand. What I needed from that space is the notoriety, for lack of a better word. I needed the presence. Immediately I was recognizable. That's all I needed. I've taken what I want. It doesn't matter if you're measuring me with others, if you're saying I should be here or there. No, you don't understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, focus.
And I took it and I ran with it. Now I'm opening doors. I'm doing what I do. I'm happy doing what I do. I know how to recreate it under the radar. I know how to move with it. I know which doors to knock that would not have been opened to me earlier if I had not found my destiny. I know bits and pieces of where I'm good at, and I know where I'm not good. I know what to bring to fit that bill, to fill that space. So that's how we are. When you find your destiny, everything begins to fall into place. You find you're so good at some other thing, but there's just one that represents the entirety of your superpower. So my superpower is that. But how many superheroes do you know that has just one power? They have multiple powers, don't they?
Wow.
So find that true path. That's your path. The path that's carved for you, the niche that's yours, that God created, that's easiest for you. That comes elemental. When you find it, then you can harness other doors. I'm a good negotiator. I'm not pretty good, I tell you, with patience. Once things have to do that. I allude to the COO. It's the operational guy. I set a timeline. I said I want it met at this point, but he's a people's person. He's filled with it. He goes to the parties. He attends the meetings. He gets into people's mind. He's so likable. A few times he's taken me to some of these things. It never works because my social battery is so low. They know me. Everybody they know me. Once I'm in there 15 minutes, they walk up to me and like, you want to go here? I say, I want to go. My driver even know. Whenever I go to a place, my driver is calling like, oh, you know, if I want to come out. They know. I went to an event recently. I think it's a Moet event. My driver was calling me after 1 hour. I said, okay, whenever they go, I said, just pull up. But they know. But, you know, they know I can't survive it. The whole thing, the whole congeniality, I don't know. My body begins to shut down. I don't know what to say. I start craving for that space where I can sit by myself. You know, they know. Now, anybody that doesn't understand it will term it something entirely different. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's just someone that understands their element. There's someone for you, for everybody. The people that went there with me, that were willing to release me and continue the journey, they know. They don't see anything, you know, reprehensible in it. But first time meeting me, and I'm ready to go. I'm acting like I'm fish out of water and not even like, what's it like? Now, where is it so low? Why is it so hard? No. I'm suffering there.
Wow.
So I brought somebody that suffered that situation. And we became a force. There are many musicians, many actors, sculptors, creatives all across the world that formed a quartet, that formed a duo, formed a band. Immediately you disband, what do you think that happens? Everything goes to. Do you understand what just happened? There's an element that was missing in your destiny that God created somebody to fill. Once you remove yourself from that element, you fall like a pack of cards. The point is that while you're there, egos fly, self-entitlement fly, outside influences will come. Find a way to manage it. You're designed to last long with that. The greatest lasting bands in the world are the greatest histories that we've had to tell, the greatest success stories we've had to tell, the enigmas of our time. the Guns N' Roses, there's so many great bands that have somehow kept it together. It's a different way you start a solo career. It's the same thing in the entrepreneurial world. It's the same thing in the film. You know, there are actors that enjoy the longevity of a career because there's a right manager, road manager, partner, agent, somebody stood by them that over the decades have become more family than business partners. They understand your mood. They can even choose a project for you without your say so because they know you. They know your creative space. They remove you from the people that will not make you last, that will not let people see you and sell you short. It's going to be my ardent fear when you go out, and because you don't have the right person, people begin to see your weaknesses, your shortfalls, the fact that there's certain things that you're not a Superman. The idea is to keep you. How can you be a Superman? You're only as good as people that protect your powers.
Yes, yes. Wow. Wow, man. Oh my gosh, we have 5 minutes. Jim, this is incredible. In closing, because we have to go and I know you're really busy, I want you to talk to this generation because I'm hearing mental strength. I'm hearing personality, individuality. I'm hearing self-development, rules, principle, laws, knowing yourself. These are things that this generation lack. They want microwave. They want it now. They want to get it now. If you're not doing it, I want it all by myself. I want to do it all. Talk to this generation that have this sense of entitlement. Like, oh, I need you to do this for me. They slide in your DM. Why don't you do this for me? Talk to them in this short minute.
Of self-entitlement and the power of rituality that's become absolutely, adverse to the order of things. If you don't work hard for it, you will treat it lightly. It's as simple as the law goes. If you can get on the internet and you're famous in 3 months, 1 year, obviously, who would have abused it? So you can't detest somebody for it. It's a new frontier, it's a new age, and you must bend to the rules. I don't think they have a sense of entitlement. I want to wear their shoes in order to live on. Because in my day, the shoe I wore was different. I don't think they would have survived it. But as a mechanism, some of them would have actually disappointed you and survived even better than us. Okay, given the new scenario, if we grew up in this way, it was easier in a sense where we could flout our skill set on a virtual space and in no time we're recognized for it. Again, trust me, we will not have been who we are. Our senses will not have developed like that. Yeah, so there are people that I've met in the so-called new millennium and generation that are living, they're doing it properly. They are.
Yeah, there are a lot doing it properly.
Absolutely. So it doesn't understand. The thing is, how can you manage what has been handed to you literally? How can you manage it? Again, it's about the power of the subconscious mind. About not allowing yourself to be fooled by anything else, staying true to your roots. Understanding more than anything else who you are and not settling for less. Everybody is on a high speed chase. It's on this pursuit, keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Okay, selling cars, everybody living in certain places, everybody is traveling on the designer stuff. I have to be on that level. But I've met people that are on that level, but they have their heads screwed on their shoulders. That's how to play this game. Give them a sense that you are in the game, but you're not in the game. You understand? Because this game takes away who you are. It robs you of your authenticity. It robs you of every trait of human essence that you are.
They said 1 minute more. 1 minute more.
So in the long run, it's a very simple line. Again, I proclaim individuality and flair. Nothing can sway you, not the internet, not the adverse programming, not the misinforming media, not your colleagues or friends with benefits. None if you're true to your roots. And I'll tell you that root. We are not yet past the generation that of the best raised people ever. These parents are still the best parents. They still instilled it in them, except you're telling me you were born in 2005.
22 seconds. Oh my God. Oh my God. Jimmy, oh my gosh. Listen, thank you so much for sharing this new you. We love you. Thank you for coming to Bouqui'S Place, Jimmy. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.